Tyler's master's in sports science.
Yeah, exercise for sports conditioning, exercise physiology.
So we're adding, to our line as an essential. Actually, might already be added by the time this gets published. Creatine, and I know creatine is actually the biggest topic of Professor Ostojic's research. It's quickly becoming hydrogen, but creatine before that, and I know you like creatine, or you take it for exercise.
Yeah, I wrote a paper on that, let's see, 8-9 years ago or something. It's the creatine recommendation report. I just was interested in this area, and I looked at a ton of stuff, and I even did some mass spectroscopy studies trying to understand the stability of creatine. There's a lot of claims out there that I wanted to understand better, but it actually needs to be updated. But anyway.
Well, yeah, of course, in 8-9 years, and
yeah.
A lot of the research is trending on creatine now as an overall health supplement, especially in the elderly. And I remember, shooting a text, might have been a year ago or something, and I said I'm really starting to think of creatine more as like a health supplement than an exercise supplement. To exercise supplement second, and that's how I think of hydrogen. Hydrogen is a healthy aging supplement. It's an exercise supplement second, right? And you said, I think I agree, but I'd have to think about it more, type thing. And
just only because I'm just a very cautious person. I don't like taking anything, even vitamins or minerals or anything that I like to really look at things, because often things end up hurting more than they ever end up helping. And I just try to eat a really good diet. That's the number one thing. But I don't eat really any meat, and so my creatine levels would be a lot lower. And so I am one of the ones that respond very well to creatine. And we understand the reasons why there are responders and non-responders of creatine based upon, primarily based upon activity of creatine kinase and muscle levels of creatine. You have to increase the creatine levels by about 20 millimoles in order to start seeing those increases. So just some of the things about creatine in terms of its metabolism in the gastrointestinal tract and different things that I was just kind of curious at. But if we look at the safety data, which is it's very obvious, it's very safe, but then we look at some of the clinical benefits of people with like various neurological conditions, from depression or Alzheimer's or whatever. It just, creatine has a lot of very strong therapeutic effects.
And my thoughts, and when I brought it up to Professor Ostojic, she said 100%. We talked about it a month ago, and I thought hydrogen might be synergistic with creatine in a lot of ways. And he told me that he believes he wants to do studies on it, but in his lab, they believe that hydrogen might improve the bioavailability of creatine when taken. And that's an interesting thought, because we get those anecdotes from a lot of customers. We need to study that.
Well, sure. I understand what maybe I'll talk to him. I'm going to go down there a little bit, but what we mean by bioavailability, because creatine, there's a lot of things, from its
maybe
absorption,
the potency or
maybe
something.
Because you have it's getting into the bloodstream, and then it's getting into the muscle cells, with the creatine transporter, the sodium chloride dependent transporter, and then it's regulated by 65%, I think, is in the phosphorylated form. So creatine kinase regulates that. So hydrogen gas, it has an effect in regulating some of these enzymatic activities. It increases bioenergetics. So if hydrogen gas could increase has some effects by increasing bioenergetics, it might actually be able to increase the amount of creatine phosphate storage. By increasing the amount of phosphorylated creatine, that is going to increase the uptake of creatine. That can help convert non-responders to responders. Now that's actually
actually something that Professor Ostojic and I were talking about, is a responder versus non-responder, and we talked about this a little bit. He said that we're actually starting to study that and see that caffeine, creatine, are both compounds with.
Well, creatine we know is a non-responder, but like I said, because a lot of people who eat meat on a daily basis are things that are getting an extra 2 grams or more of creatine from the meat, and so their muscle creatine levels are already quite full, and so they are not going to respond very well from creatine unless they do some biohacks, which I've talked about before, with increasing creatine activity and creatine kinase activity and different things. But I actually wonder maybe hydrogen gas could do some of that.